Hi everyone, I'm working on a box of flies at the moment. Basically it's a dry dropper type box, and I'm just going to show you what I'm working on. So I'll just put this in here, sorry. Just give an idea, I'm working on flies I like to use when I'm fishing a dry dropper. I mean, your dry flies is not just to support, a dropper, I mean a nymph or a wet or whatever you're hanging off the bend. It's got to catch fish as well, so these are patterns I like to use. Got a couple of caddis flies, granum there, cinnamon brown caddis, got March brown, yellow may, Klinkhamers I'm working on this at the moment, hi-vis as you can see it a mile away. So I've got the orange and olive, I've got a grey with a pink. I'm just going to do 3 of each, and then I'm going to work on, depends on what when you're fishing a dry dropper. I mean, I'm quite happy to fish even a 2.8 tungsten bead off the bend of these flies. It will support it long enough, and I can be fishing that at the most probably around about 4 foot off the bend. Depends on how deep, and depends on the water. Depends on how the fish are feeding. But when I'm searching, I'll certainly use that. But I could be fishing a basic pheasant tail nymph, hare's ear. I could be fishing even a wet fly, which I like to do. So this is what this box is going to be. It's going to be a dry dropper box. It's going to be my favourite, some of my favourite flies for doing that. But you've got to have the high-vis for conditions. Now I usually have an olive type pattern. There's 2 or 3 flies I like. I'll take one of these out. I'll take these both out, sorry. So we've got the olive. I usually fish this in bright conditions. A wee bit duller, I'll use the grey, just a basic one. There's another couple I use. There's a green rose type pattern I like, and I use grey and orange in the wing in that one. I'll do the pink one. It's quite easy to tie. The hook I'm using, this is one of my favourite hooks. Whether it be bronze, or in this case this one's a black nickel. Tying them on size 14s, but you could tie them above, bigger or smaller, depending basically what you're fishing. But size 14 is a good size, especially the beginning of the season. Now I'm using a grey coloured thread to suit the fly. It's just a uni thread, 8/0 in grey. Just going to run the wax through it, just to get it started. So work my way down to the point of the hook, just there. Now for the rib, I'm going to rib it using this clear wrap, or it's just Mylar, Uni Mylar clear, sorry. It's just a medium thick. Now if you go smaller and you want it thinner, just stretch it out. It stretches very easy and reduces down to about half. So there it's there. It just gives a nice shape in the body. I like to use it. So we come down. Now you could put the wing on first, it's up to yourself, but in this style you really don't need. Dubbing, lots of dubbins out there again. You could use just the thread, it's up to yourself, and rib it with the clear wrap. But I'm using the dark hare's ear. This is a Euro Nymph Flash from Fully Mill. It's a nice dubbin. Now I've actually got some mixed here with CDC, but I'll use that for the thorax. This is the raw stuff. We don't need much. So you can see I'm about a mil or so up from where I've taken the thread down. So I'm just going to slowly work my thread up. The body can be as thin or as thick as you like. It could be well tapered. There's lots of, depending on what you're trying to represent. The Klinkhamers are very good for caddis. It's also very good for olives coming off as well. It'll still work. Now once you're happy, then you can bring your rib up through. The turn is 2, 3, 4, 5. Into the 6th turn, then we can basically tie over that with the thread. Pull away. If you want, you can leave it the way it is, or you can just brush out some of the dubbing using your Velcro. I usually like to run my fingers through it just to draw it back. Just gives it a wee touch more life. Now, winging material, it's up to us, there's lots of winging materials out there. I'm using ultra dry yarn from Fully Mill. I'm using a fluorescent pink and a white. Just get a strand of each. You could use Parapost, Antron. It's basically as a citer. You could use for lots of things. If you don't want to use a synthetic, you could use even just normal winging material. It's up to yourself. Now I've got, just lining them up here, I usually like to come underneath. Now first things first, make sure your thread's in the middle area, the thorax, sorry. Wax your thread, so I want a length about 1 inch, basically in front. Come underneath, bring it tight together, hold them. I usually a good 4 or 5 turns or more, just to make sure it's hot. I've caught it. And then I post both together, I've doubled up on it obviously. So we come round, I missed that. A post in turn or two just to secure it. It's the easiest way to secure the wing like this. It doesn't roll, doesn't twist, it's solid. And there's not much bulk as well. So I like to try and get the pink in the middle. Doesn't always work. That's fine. Now you want your thread at the back of the wing. So I'm going to go back to my dubbing now. I mentioned that I had the same dubbing there, if you imagine, a wee bit of CDC fibre. I've just mixed them. It's just dubbing, I was tying some dry flies, and I always keep the waste. And I like to mix it into the dubbing for the thorax area. So it's just light dubbing. It's got a wee bit more life, a wee touch more. Just tidy the back up. Just draw the dubbing. I've got a wee bit extra dubbing on the thread there, but I'll pull it down to tie the hackle in. When you bring the thread to the front of the wing now, hackle, it could be grey, in this case, or it could be whatever, but I like a grizzle. You want a reasonable length in the fibre, don't be short. I don't like wee short fibres, I like it quite long. So you want to bare some of the stem, because we're going to post it. So we just offer it to the side of the hook in front of the wing. We wind our thread up to the wing, and then we're going to post both the hackle and the wing at the same time, so we can form a parachute hackle. So we just basically work our way up. Now because we're using this as a dry door upper, I usually take it up a wee bit further than normal, so I can get more turns in. Some people take it even further than I do. I just like it just a wee bit, maybe 1.5 mil or so. Now I'm going to put the dubbing back in here just to tidy the front. But leave enough room at the front area to tie in your hackle. So once we've did that, and because we've taken the hackle up, we basically do a turn at that point, and then the next one should be underneath. And we keep working our way down. Further up we are, the more hackle you're going to get in. Now I want a good hackle in this fly. That looks fine. Just what I do normally on my side, I've got the hackle on my side, so I take it straight down, come in and lift the hackle fibres, as I've formed the hackle out the way. I use these 2 fingers in my left hand to hold the hackle for a second while I catch it in. You want a good 4 or 5 turns so it doesn't move. And then you want to come in, trim away your hackle. Now you could tie off at that, but I like to put a wee bit of dubbing. So I'm going to go back to my dubbing with a wee bit of CDC in it. Slide it up. Again, lift your hackle fibres out the way. Just 3 or 4 turns or so. Draw back anything going forward with the eye with the thread turns. Just leave things there, just don't do anything, just put some varnish on your thread, about a centimetre from the eye down, and then wet finish. That'll give you a strong wet finish. Just make sure everything's out the way. Trim away once you finish your wet finish. I usually now bring down the hackle. It looks okay, a wee touch of pink coming through there, but that's fine. You can maybe trim anything you don't like away. It's okay. To trim the wing, I open my scissors, come in at the top, bring it to the back. I usually trim it in line with the back of the hook. And that's the length of wing I like. So, and there we are. Just taking out the odd long fibre. Simple. High-vis, you can see my mile away, so you can. And you'll still catch fish on these as much. And the two, as I say, the two colours I like mainly is the olive and the pink. Sorry, the olive body, but with the hot orange or fluorescent sunburst, I think it is. These two I can see miles away. See them under trees when you're casting, which I normally do a lot. So if you're casting under the bushes even, you can still see it a mile away. And most lights, you will mess about. I mean, the natural one works when you especially can see in good light, and as I say, but these will still catch fish. And the Klinkhamer is one of the probably most popular one to use for the dry dropper, so I would certainly recommend it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and again, thanks for watching.